All right, so hear me out on this one. I don't have an actual confirmed source other than my inside source of the local Best Buy that I went to, but there very may well be a chance that this entire lack of supplies going on revolving PlayStation 5s, Xbox Series X's, NVIDIA and AMD cards and or processors is all completely artificial. More on this coming up. Real quick before I get into this video, I would ask for you all to drop a like if you are enjoying the content, and or subscribe if you really like it, as it does help, with the YouTube algorithm and kind of put my channel out to the forefront a little bit more. I do apologize for my absence over the last couple weeks as I have been grieving the loss of my father. It's been a tough time, so I'm working slowly to get back into the swing of things, not just with social media and content creation, but also back at work and even my normal life. So 2020 has been quite the year, but I do plan on kind of going full swing and going back strong with everything. With all that being said, let's get more into this. So over the weekend, I actually went to go and buy a tripod because I was having some trouble recording with the last one. It broke. It was cheap. This one that I got still isn't the greatest tripod, but it was only $30, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it wasn't really the tripod, is the real story while I was there. I was looking just by a small chance to actually see if I would be able to score a 6800 XT or a 3080. It's kind of a funny story. When I was younger, never had money, so I had to buy budget parts. Now I have money. Now I can't get one. So it kind of sucks. But anyways, I spoke to kind of one of the local people there, and he let me know that the supplies are coming. They have shipments, but they distribute them amongst all of the stores, right? And so he asked me, hey, what's going on? Like, I'm asking him a question about some of the sound products. He's like, well, I'm not really a sound expert, but if you go back there, that guy with the black shirt. So I kind of go back there. I'm looking at some stuff, and finally I find a guy because I was having an issue with my sound bar with HDMI 2.2 4K 60 pass through through the sound bar to the TV. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The thing I started asking about is, hey, what's the real deal? What's going on with these consoles? Why can't you get one? And he goes on to say, he was like, listen, man, he was like, we've had meetings here regarding what's going on with Sony and the supply issue. And what he basically told me is that there actually isn't a real supply issue. It's more to do with capitalism and the United States as a whole, with the kind of social unrest that's kind of going on there. Without getting too political into it, I would say there were plenty of peaceful protests over the summer, but let's call a spade a spade. There were plenty of riots. And with that being said, Sony didn't want to be responsible for them putting product in stores, and this is why I put in quotation marks, and people getting sick over the summer, or actually not the summer, but the fall and the winter, rushing in the stores, possibly even looting them, with the mass hysteria going on. And that's the real reason why they don't want to do it. They don't want to stock physical medium inside of the stores, because you got Xbox on one side where they're pretty much bowing out of the console game. They're done. They want to move more into cloud computing, or not cloud computing, but cloud gaming as a cloud service, and also moving their kind of online store more to something similar to Steam. But they're actually not doing a bad job. I think they're kind of testing the waters to see what's going to go on, and they're putting out what would be that the Xbox Series S, which would kind of be that kind of sweet spot of console if you really don't need necessarily 4K 60, but that 1440p sweet spot. Don't know too many people that have 1440p monitors except PC gamers, but the whole cloud gaming part is where they're really trying to hit it home with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, including the EA Play, which is actually pretty good, by the way. But more back to the Sony part. He said Sony is more or less concerned about developing their first party content because they really don't have any competition anymore when it comes to Microsoft. Same reason why we didn't see a Switch. And this is the real kicker. This is what I was actually told here, that the PlayStation 5s, there are plenty of them to go around, but because of two things, one being the social unrest, they don't be responsible for people getting sick, but also because of the trade tariffs going on. So if you're not aware, the United States and China had this huge political issue going on where they were going back and forth, engaging in a trade war. And that came to full fruition pretty much during the winter where, hey, we're trying to get digital products that are created in China into America. Well, guess what? There's this nice slap tax on top of there, and the companies like Sony, Microsoft, etc., they don't want to pay for that, especially the AIB partners for a lot of these video cards. So they don't want to pay for that because what's going to happen is it's going to have to get passed on to the consumer. So what they say is, hey, we only have this amount of supply available. This is what you get, that you can buy at MSRP. So when you buy that, hey, guess who's going and getting it? Scalpers and people who are using bots. So that's going to artificially drive up the price on otherwise would-be units that are ready to go. And again, I was told, and I take this with a grain of salt, but I'm starting to believe it at this point, where the consoles are being held in shipping containers at the docks. And we're just not getting them until we get our situation in the United States figured out. So this is a little bit of a conspiracy. I found it a little bit hard to be true, but once I actually sat there and realized it when I was sitting there kind of thinking on my drive home, I said, you know what, this is just crazy enough with all of the things happening in 2020 for this to just maybe be true. And they're trying to artificially inflate the price. So now when all of a sudden they magically have all of the supply, they can say, hey, guess what? Well, the demand is so high, we can sell it at whatever. And scalpers are taking a part of that, and so are miners. They're driving up the cost of everything because the demand is so high and the supply shortage is quote unquote so little. And it just makes sense. If it's up to me, if it were up to me, I'm holding off on buying really any of those. I refuse to pay. Like I hear stories about people paying $1,200 on a PS5. That to me is mind-boggling. My gaming computer right here, complete with a Ryzen 5 3600. 32 gigs of RAM, Vega 56 video card, which I would love to upgrade, and a bunch of other components. For $1,200, I can pretty much rebuild another system for that cost if I could actually find the parts. I mean, scalping has gotten so bad that you see things like 580s, the AMD 580s going for around $200 right now, and I can also find a Vega 56 for about $220 on eBay. I don't understand that. But it's getting really bad. But if you can hold out, I would highly suggest holding out, because buying products from scalpers, unless you're some sort of reviewer or something, in which case you should be getting samples anyway, but it's just going to just make the situation worse. And at this point, I would love to get a 3080. I would love to be able to buy a 6800 XT or a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. But at this point, I'm almost willing to just wait until the next generation of things. What I'm not willing to do is go ahead and purchase a product where I'm going to pay nearly 50% markup on it, even sometimes even 100%, so they can justify selling at that price going forward in the future. The 3060, if I stand correctly, I briefly gazed over it today's, after CES, is that they're trying to put it out at $500. We're talking about a mid-tier card at $500. That's what we've come to. That's to me, that's unacceptable. Again, if you can hold out, you don't need to upgrade. I would just say screw these companies, because at the end of the day, they can't survive without us. So they can put out a card as much as they want at that price. If nobody buys it, they'll be forced to lower it. But let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like the content, and stay tuned for more coming soon.